Alright, so in this equation, I have 9 to the power of x minus 6 to the power of x is equal to 4 to the power of x. So my only variable in this equation is x, so that's what I'm going to be solving for. And notice how I have x 3 times in this equation, and all of those times is an exponent, so it's going to be pretty difficult to actually solve for x. So now for my solution, I'm going to first rewrite my equation down here so I have a little more space to solve. And I'm going to first start by dividing both sides by 4 to the power of x. So, for my right-hand side, 4 to the power of x and 4 to the power of x cancel out. So I get 9 to the power of x minus 6 to the power of x over 4 to the power of x is equal to 1. Now 9 to the power of x minus 6 to the power of x over 4 to the power of x is the same thing as 9 to the power of x over 4 to the power of x minus 6 to the power of x over 4 to the power of x. And this is all equal to 1. Now from here, if I have something in the form a to the power of m over b to the power of m, this is equal to a over b to the power of m. So 9 to the power of x over 4 to the power of x is the same thing as 9 over 4 to the power of x. Now I have this minus 6 over 4 to the power of x, which is equal to 1. Now, 9 over 4 I can rewrite as 3 squared over 2 squared. So I have this minus 6 over 4 I can rewrite as 3 over 2. Now if I have something from a to the power of m over b to the power of m, this is equal to a over b to the power of m. So 3 squared over 2 squared, that's going to be 3 over 2 squared, and I have this to the power of x minus, just have 3 over 2 to the power of x is equal to 1. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is equal to a to the power of m times n. And m times n, I can rewrite this as n times m. A to the power of m times n is the same thing as a to the power of n times m. Now, if a to the power of m to the power of n is equal to a to the power of m times n, then a to the power of n times m, this should equal a to the power of n to the power of m. So, in this case, I have 3 over 2 to the power of 2 to the power of x, and m in this case is 2, and n is x. So I can actually switch the places of 2 and x, and this is the same thing as 3 over 2 to the power of x to the power of 2 minus 3 over 2 to the power of x, and this is equal to 1. Now, from here, I'm going to let 3 over 2 to the power of x equal to y. So 3 over 2 to the power of x, if I substitute in y for that, I get y squared minus y is equal to 1. And now if I subtract 1 on both sides, I get y squared minus y minus 1 is equal to 0. Now over here I have a quadratic equation, and the easiest way to solve a quadratic equation most of the time is by using the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So in this case, a is 1 b is -1, and c is -1. So now I get y is equal to negative of -1 plus or minus the square root of -1 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is -1. And I have this all over 2a, so 2 times 1. Now from here, I get y equals +1 plus or minus the square root of +1 minus negative of 4 times -1 is the same thing as +4. So I have 1 plus +4. And I have this over 2. And now this is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. All right. So now that we have this, recall that back here, we let 3 over 2 to the power of x equal to y. So if y is also equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2, then this means that 3 over 2 to the power of x is equal to 1 plus or minus the square root of 5 over 2. So this gives me two equations. I get 3 over 2 to the power of x is equal to 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2. And I also get 3 over 2 to the power of x is equal to 1 minus the square root of 5 over 2. So 3 over 2 to the power of x is equal to 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2. We can try solving this first. So to solve this, I'm going to start by taking the log on both sides. So I get log 3 over 2 to the power of x is equal to log of 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2. And if I have something in the form log a to the power of b, I can move this exponent b to the front, so this can equal b times log a. So log 3 over 2 to the power of x, I can move x to the front, so I get x times log of 3 over 2 is equal to log of 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2. Now, if I divide both sides by log 3 over 2, these two cancel out, and I get x is equal to log 1 plus the square root of 5 over 2 over log 3 over 2. And for this equation, 1 minus the square root of 5 over 2 is negative, and you can't take the power of a positive number and make it negative, so this is no solution.